Internet. Welcome to what might be WooSah week. Might be WooSah week here. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to do a whole week, but Horace was nice enough to send me a bunch of spinners, most of which were WooSah. You know, he loves his WooSah, and we wanted to kind of maybe dive in deeper a little bit on some of these things, revisit some old classics, and just yeah, thought it might be nice to do while I had a big old selection of WooSahs. So let's see if I can get this pun right. What's going on there, Officer Junior? Well, son, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave this location. Namaste right here. Cosmo said I need to wait near the racks, and at racks is where he said that. Well, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to leave. I can't, sir. Officer, there's a doubleheader tomorrow, Junior. No, I kind of screwed that up. Anyway, Mo's the boss. Cosmo said, Namaste right here. By the racks. And at the racks is where he said that. Yeah, it was kind of hard to keep all that straight in my head. I was trying to think. I'm like, I can make a pun about just about all these, but trying to put it all together into one is tough. So the doubleheader Junior kind of threw the works off. If it was just Junior, it'd have been all right. So I'm just realizing I haven't even discussed what we're going to talk about today. There's a couple that I'm going to be looking at that aren't in this video. I was going to try and, when I do these weekly reviews, I try to just get in the car and just do them back to back to back and then just release them throughout the week. But I realized I need to clean the bearing out of this guy. And I've got a 608 29 that needs to be polished, and I didn't get a chance to polish it before I did this video. So I should clean the bearing, although this feels really nice. Yeah, he wanted me, Horace asked me to give this guy a polish, so I'm not even going to show it off since he asked me to polish it up. I don't think it looks that bad, to be honest. I'm going to ask him if he actually really wants me to polish it, because I think it looks fine. So anyway, let's talk about, I was going to almost talk about the double header, but I don't have mine with me. I forgot that one as well. So much WooSah. So what should we do? Let's start easy. Let's just kind of revisit the Namastes here. Because we got a bunch of different versions of the Namastes here to look at, so maybe we can just move some things around. Make a little bit of room here. All right, so, and then the chakra, we can leave the chakra up there. So a couple different things going on with the Namaste. So he sent me this little webbed one. And this is a Namaste too. I keep forgetting because it's copper. There's not enough room on my little board here. Sorry, Cody, I don't even have room for your spinner board because I know it's going to be rearranging things. But don't worry, it's sitting right here. I got it. Get yourself a spinner board. Success gear, y'all. And I should also say thanks to Jonathan Clark. He sent me this guy to take a look at and check out, as well as sent me this nice little Velcro pouch that he's doing his own little pouches and stuff as well. So it's almost feels like a conflict of interest because I like Carver's Custom so much, but it's nice that he sent me this. And I really like the pattern. So, you know, I'm not 100% sure of his pricing, but he's over on the Fidget Spot. He's got a group site. So, so check that out if you like that sort of thing. So, but it was a nice gift and I wanted to give him a shout out. So, anyway, so where were we? Yeah, so we've got a couple different versions. We've got the web, which I hadn't gotten my hands on before, and I'm really loving the look of this. Let me tell you what, boy, look at that. It's just so, look at that. Look how it's like polished all in there. I don't know what sort of magic the wizard's doing, but we know the wizard does magic, otherwise we wouldn't call him the wizard. But excellent finishing on this. And then we've still got my Radiance, which I need to flame and then polish the flats. I realize I want to do. It's just so much spinners, so much customized in so little time. So, and the WooSahs are just really nice as is. So, and I find with the chakra in the collection, I don't carry this as much, so there hasn't been as much need for me. And then this one is really nice. This is the caliber. I don't know if the caliber was always done with such a chamfer. I don't think it was, but this is my first time with their really nice chamfer as opposed to like the rounding they traditionally do, or I don't know, whatever you'd call this. Look at the patina that's happened on this as well, y'all. Look at that. I just love how that looks, especially if we take the buttons off. Now this side, somehow we got just a little extra smudge right there, where on this side it's almost like a perfect circle. It's just patinaing nicely. Lovely, lovely patina. All right, let's put our buttons back on. Copper, see? Yeah, see? You thought I was going to forget to say it. Although I did forget a little bit, to be honest. Otherwise, I would have said it sooner. Get on there, buttons. So this is the 29 Infinity. We've got the web with the web buttons. We got the Radiance with the Radiance buttons. And then we got the Elite Caliber, Namaste Caliber chamfered, I think is what they call it. So, yeah, so what needs to be said that hasn't already been said on these guys? I mean, these are just these are still fantastic spinners. I'm really liking the chamfer on this one a lot, so I guess we'll talk about this one for a second. But I think part of what I'm going to be revisiting this point a lot this week is that WooSah is really one of the only ones that does what they do, where they just make so many different versions of the same spinner. Most will put out a spinner, and that's that version of the spinner, and then they do something else. But WooSah comes out with so many different versions of the same thing, you really can't try to collect them all. You're going to be spending... well, I'm sure Chris Branch wouldn't mind, but you'll be spending a lot of money with how many different versions are out there. And they all do offer something a little bit different, especially with something as big of a difference as this. To be honest, as much as these feel very different, there might not be as much of a reason to get both of these. But something like this, for example, with this chamfer, something like this in the different material and these different grooves on the edge, definitely room in a collection for multiple versions of these. So as much as I like the pattern of this more, from a personal standpoint, there's something about the way this looks in terms of the polishing on it. So the web design really doesn't do it for me, but the polishing that's going on in there, all of a sudden I start to appreciate it more, and that feels really good. It's smooth yet rough. Juxtaposition, y'all. Good little spin profile, lots of concentric circles. We're getting decent sun, but not direct sun, so I might be able to show you that a little bit. We're also in 60 frames, so. But yeah, they're almost like right there. See all those concentric circles? Really, really nice pattern. And again, just as always with WooSah, excellent flicking, excellent pulling, excellent pushing, perfect for fidgeting. And the tolerance on these guys, like, look at the tolerance there. Buttons don't hit, but it's ever so close. And it's also using the one drop, which the one drop is kind of known for having a little less up and down wobble. Now, I didn't test the spin times on any of these. The spin time is varied quite a bit, as you've heard me say, from one drops in particular, but with almost any bearing in there, spin times are almost even irrelevant these days. It's nice to do to get a baseline, but if you're not using the same bearing at every spinner, then it's, you know, what are you really testing? Because every bearing's a little bit different. But these can get anywhere, and certainly in the neighborhood of probably with a good broken-in hybrid ceramic bearing, I bet you could get upwards of 7 minutes and maybe even upwards of 9 on a vertical spin on some of these guys. But reality is probably in a standard bearing setup, most of the time you're going to be seeing something in the neighborhood of 3-4 minutes and maybe upwards of 7 on a table spin would be my guess. As always with everything WooSah, perfectly balanced or near perfectly balanced. I haven't checked the balance, so let's see if I'm full of myself or full of it. Really? Interesting. That feels a little weird because it doesn't twist the other way. I guess it does. Just a little bit, but it's enough where it feels smooth. You don't feel any like wobble or anything like that. So let's try this one. Now, I'm going to be honest, for me, the Namaste of the ones I've handled and messed around with, I'm actually really liking this one with the chamfer the most, the caliber, which is these little dots right here. But with the chamfer especially, I don't know, it feels a little, not in a bad way, but it feels a little less WooSah, which makes it kind of feel a little different from the rest that I've handled. Because WooSah I normally think of, for me personally, most of the ones I've handled, as kind of like a smooth, round, very soft feel. This is still soft, not a hot spot to be found, but yet that chamfer does give you a bit of an edge to feel. So I really do appreciate that. Make sure that's tight. Yeah, that's nice. And these are the butter buttons, stainless steel butter buttons. I don't know why they call them butter. That might have been answered before. I should have polished these up. Although these aren't my buttons. These are part of Horace's EDC, so he's probably killing me. Had so much to review. I've been meaning to get this done sooner for you, Horace, and get this shit back to you. But such is the life of a popular YouTube reviewer. I'm a little full of myself. Not really, but I have been getting a lot of love. I appreciate all the love I've been getting out there. You know, just trying to do what I do for y'all. So yeah, so the caliber is really nice. If you haven't gotten your hands, if you like WooSah and you haven't gotten your hands on a chamfered edge, I would definitely look to get one of those. It's definitely worth adding in the collection at this point. If this were mine, this would be the one I'd want to keep. This, and especially compared to the chakra that I really like, this definitely feels much more different as opposed to like a chakra light, kind of like what that feels like. But then the 29, I'm not usually a huge fan of copper, and to be honest, I would probably like it more if it were in brass. But this one has patinaed so nicely. I keep this one. This is perpetually at my desk at work as well. This is my at-work WooSah. Partially because it started to patina so nicely, I wanted to make sure I used it a little bit every day to try to keep that patina going. So And it's patinaed really interesting on the sides and edges here. I haven't, you know, this is something I've noticed with copper, is that you get almost this rainbow type effect like you see we're seeing there. I probably should put that in the middle if I'm showing it to you. And if you remember me talking about my LMS gear buttons, superconductor buttons on my Zen Duo Evo, this is sort of what the side was looking like. And then you can kind of see, like, in the spots where you really fidget with it, it doesn't have that patina on the polished parts. So when you've got something like a brushed finish or a you know, media blasted finish or something like that, I hear those patina faster. And especially with copper, like copper, say, if my hand can really rub on that patinaed part and it's polished, it seems to keep it polished. If it's something like the media blasted, that patina kind of gets in all those little grooves, I think, and your hand just can't really wipe it off the same way that it does in the polish and just kind of keep polishing it. So I don't know if there's something to that, but it's kind of interesting that copper kind of patinas this way. See, sometimes your patina gets polished off. See, so. But yeah, WooSah Namaste, still an excellent spinner. It's definitely like a world-class spinner, and a reason why so many people enjoy them. So the Namastes for me especially get the old 2 awkward thumbs up. So if you don't have a Namaste in your collection, get one. If you've got one, especially if you really like it, it's probably worth looking at expanding potentially. So if all you've got, especially if you don't have a chakra and all you have is, you know, a rounded edge, get a chamfered. If all you have is a chamfered edge, look at getting a rounded. If you don't have one and like the heavier material, this kind of almost feels similar to a chakra in terms of the weight. Maybe we should weigh it. Did we weigh the 2 of them? They both have stainless steel buttons. I don't have room. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Well, maybe I can get it in frame. 104.6 grams with buttons, and this is 98.99. So pretty close. This is definitely a little bit more material, a little heavier. But yeah, can recommend them. Downsides, I mean, the biggest downsides that most people have with the WooSahs are the aluminum buttons, which you don't have to get anymore. You know, they make a variety of stainless steel buttons that we can see in front of us that we should probably point out. So we've got the butter buttons, we've got the infinity buttons, we've got the boss buttons, we've got the dished buttons. They make flat ones, which I think are on my double header, so I'll have to bring that in tomorrow to show you that. So all in all, yeah, really pleased with the WooSah, and again, especially the Namaste. I feel like the Namaste is the one you should get first, in my opinion. Although the Cosmo was the first one that I got, I think the Namaste is like their Namaste right here, and keep recommending this one as the #1 WooSah, especially if you're not sure. So, and again, they make a ton of different designs, so I hear that's one of the things people don't like as well. And I think the chamfered kind of solves some of that. So if you're someone that's looked at the WooSah and not really appreciated the aesthetic, look at something like this. So, again, much more angular. And it's just a great form factor. It's a simple, well-executed design. This also is sometimes the argument of a lot, and probably worth bringing up since we're talking about the Namastes today. The argument of a lot of like clones, especially the WooSah family, is very protective of the WooSah brand. And you know, when we looked at the Atrium, for example, the other day, or you look at something like the Sanitarium by Full Throttle, sometimes that comes up, and especially with a design this simple, somebody that's basically just essentially cloning this exact same design, yes, I would have a problem with that. But someone that takes a triangle with finger grooves in the side, we really need more than that to kind of, for me personally, to kind of start getting up in arms. So seeing something like, you know, a Full Throttle that has raised weights, different kind of chamfers, a different feel, the Atrium, which got a lot of, it's got a lot of swoops and swooves and swirls. Anyway, we're starting to get out of control. We're losing our minds, so. But you guys know I love me some WooSah, so big shout out to those guys over there. And yeah, I was gonna say something, but maybe we'll just let it be a secret till it's a thing. So, all right, internet, Namaste. Oh, you know what we should do? I don't want to bump these because see that just bumped them a little. It's stainless steel; it can handle a little bump like that. Nama leave ya with some spinning Namastes. Kisses.